Chapter 81, The Intelligencer of Vision. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dark Demon Knife, Type, Scalpel, Quality, Legendary, Special Effect, Never Dulls, Description, a serious scalpel. At a half-meter long, it's arguably better suited for cutting people, but performing surgery is definitely within its capabilities. Masterful knife work is all about precision. Legend has it, it becomes even sharper at night, 3 high-quality special items. Plus a bunch of skull coins and basic experience points. Please bookmark Taiwan Novel Network. This mission run totally made up for yesterday's losses and then some, restoring his reserves, and he hit level 10. Once he takes care of this current situation, he can think about switching to a new class. All in all, a good time. Lin stashed the rewards in his system inventory. Alright, all cleaned up. The blood-clothed evil spirit frowned. But it looks like that was just a scout team. You might have pissed off a major organization. Unless you come up with something fast, I'm betting you're in for some serious trouble in the next few days. After the events of yesterday and today, the blood-clothed evil spirit realized the gravity of the situation. In this dark world, the Demon Association is the go-to organization for researching top-tier biological weapons. They specialize in merging machinery with flesh, making them something of an outlier in the dark world. How did you manage to anger them? The blood-clothed evil spirit frowned at Lin En. I hardly ever see you leave Wandering Soul Alley. How could you have offended them? Did you botch a surgery and kill someone, making you a target for revenge? Lin En shook his head calmly. It probably has something to do with my teacher's situation, but I haven't been able to reach him yet, so I don't know the specifics. But either way, they made it through another sleepless night. Let's clean up the battlefield. We can't stay here too long. Attracting the attention of other monsters now would be a net loss. Got it. Over half an hour later, at Bloodsaw Pharmacy. It's getting late. Probably nothing else will happen tonight. You should head home and get some rest, ma'am. The blood-clothed evil spirit nodded, picked up her adorable baby, and said, all right, if you run into anything you can't handle, contact me ASAP. The curse will linger for the next few days. Once this immediate crisis is over, you can help me deal with it. She reached out, playfully ruffled Lin En's hair, then cradled her baby and left Bloodsaw Pharmacy. Even though she's a little nuts, she's proven to be a very reliable evil spirit. After the last couple of days, Lin didn't stick around. He locked up, went back to the guest room in the backyard, and collapsed onto the bed, eyes closed. Today had been unusually dangerous. It wasn't quite as bad as yesterday, but the changes in the hunter were definitely cause for concern. He was sure that whoever controlled the hunter must have been an insider within the Demon Association, which meant, this was just the calm before the storm. If he didn't find a way to deal with this, he was definitely in for more brutal attacks in the days to come. Gotta find a way to reach my teacher, or Xiao. Lin resolved. Wide awake now, he closed his eyes and said, System, enter the horizon. Ding. Skull coin -500. Instantly, accompanied by a powerful feeling of displacement and detachment, Lin's consciousness left his body. He appeared on the familiar, illusory square. The massive pupils overhead still shone eternally. Information slammed into him the moment he arrived. Regional information sharing. Following yesterday's incident, another extremely powerful monster invasion occurred in Wandering Soul Alley. The intruder is believed to be a cutting-edge biological weapon from the Demon Association. Residents of Wandering Soul Alley are advised to stay indoors to prevent unforeseen circumstances. Regional information sharing, real-time follow-up on the situation. The battle in Wandering Soul Alley has concluded. One of the participants is suspected to be the famous lady in blood clothes, the Queen of Evil Spirits. The other participant is rumored to be a recent arrival to Wandering Soul Alley, the apprentice at Bloodsaw Pharmacy. Click to watch. Skeleton coin 30. Lin's jaw dropped. No way, information leaked to the horizon this quickly. And there's a video. Were other people out on the street at the time? Lin immediately clicked to watch. Skull coin -30. A scene of billowing black fog unfolded before Lin En. the 3 human-faced spider hunters they just killed appeared on screen. Then, Lin En saw his own handsome face. The video cut to the moment he installed the focusing eye to fight back against the hunter. The viewer count skyrocketed to 2000. Messages flooded the screen. It's that doctor. I recognize him. Scary, is he really that strong? He's hot. I wanna bang. No wonder the pharmacy looked like crap when I walked by today. I thought someone finally trashed the place, but considering this, the doctor must have been caught up in the fight yesterday. I wanna bang X2. That's insane. I always thought he was just a harmless apprentice, but it turns out there's a badass hiding in Wandering Soul Alley. Makes sense. I thought humans survived here because of that old pervert, Bloodsaw, but I guess the apprentice is powerful too. I wanna bang X3. Messages kept flooding the screen. There were Wandering Soul Alley locals and creatures from other areas watching. People were asking about the guy in the video, and the viewer count quickly hit 3000, meaning, the person who shared this video made at least 90,000 skull coins. Intelligence is a lucrative business. But it also surprised Lin En. He hadn't noticed any other creatures nearby during the fight. You could say he was just too weak to notice, but the left hand and the blood-clothed evil spirit didn't notice anything either, which spoke volumes. Lin En fell into thought. This intelligence broker was clearly established within the horizon and highly skilled. Information sharing must be their main source of income. Maybe he could use them to quickly reach his intended targets. Lin En quickly pulled up the information and found the name of the creature who posted it. Click. Intelligencer 024. Identity, information merchant, message, providing job change, information sharing, and selling intelligence from the dark world. Follow for quick replies. Chapter 82 Contract Messenger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He was a real hustler, that's for sure. Best to keep quiet. Lin's eyes snapped to the info display. For a split second, everything went blurry and the scene in front of him warped. Then, he was sitting in a chair in a tiny room. Just a lamp on a table and a shadowy figure in a black robe across from him behind the counter. Welcome, what do you need? The figure asked Lin En, who just materialized out of thin air. Lin En looked around, then fixed his gaze on the robed figure. You're the one who deals in intel. That seemed like the figure got that question a lot. I'm intelligence agent number 24, sector 900. I can get you any info you need in this area. Pricey, of course. Lin En sized him up. Place looks pretty dead. Point 24 explained, this is a private grid I requested from Vision. Every customer gets sent to their own isolated space. Right now, I'm juggling about 754 other customers across different grids. Lin nodded. Impressive, handling that many clients at once. That was a serious workload. Lin En cut to the chase. I'm looking to buy some information. Just want to see if you have what I need. Go ahead, 24 said, short and sweet. Lin En adjusted his imaginary monocle. First, I need the exact location of the bloodsaw. A beat of silence, the candle flickered, then, 24, without changing his tone, stated, 50 black skull coins. Lin's jaw dropped. What? 50 black skull coins. That's 500,000 skull coins. Insane. He couldn't afford that if he sold his whole shop. 24 explained, that target's intel was bumped to level A yesterday. The price has increased more than 50-fold in real-time tracking. You aren't the only one looking for their coordinates. Lin En's mind raced. He knew it, his mentor must be in a tight spot. Besides him, the Demon Association was definitely pulling out all the stops to find him. Lin En regained his composure. Second question. What's the fastest way to contact someone specific over a long distance? 24 didn't hesitate. Depends on the method. Minimum charge, 100 skull coins. Maximum charge, 100,000 black skull coins. Take your pick. Lin closed his eyes. The cheapest. Direct transfer, skull coin, 100. 24 nodded. Payment received. Answer, the fastest way to contact someone far away is through the horizon. It's the mirror world that overlays the dark world. Because of its teleport function, you can contact any creature that logs into the horizon from anywhere. A moment of silence, Lin hesitated. And, .24 replied, answer complete. Thanks for your business. Lin En groaned. That's worth 100. If I could contact them on the horizon, why would I need to ask you? .24 said plainly, that's the lowest grade of intel. In other words, cheap, but useless. Lin En tried to stay calm, closed his eyes, and said, same question. This time, I'm paying for information worth 1 black skull coin. Transfer successful, skull coin, 1000, .24 paused. Payment received. Answer, you can hire a contract messenger to deliver letters. The price of the messenger determines their speed. .24, who'd been as still as a statue, extended a pale, slender hand from his black robe and placed a roster on the counter. We offer a messenger service here. Feel free to choose from our selection. Lin scanned the roster. This intel seemed worth the money. His eyes zeroed in on the options. Bat of Doom, an alien messenger that quickly transmits information through the target's body tissue and real name while also bringing them bad luck. Domestic Cerberus, with a keen sense of smell and tracking ability, it can deliver messages over long distances with just a scent trail, but it has a high probability of never returning. Void Jump Beast, an extremely efficient messenger with the fastest speed in the dark world. It delivers messages quickly, teleports quickly, dies suddenly, and is fast in all aspects. Rotten Turtle King, it has the defense power and armor at the top of the pyramid of the dark world. It can 100% guarantee the integrity of letters. It is a stable one. It has a 0% crash rate in the industry. It ranks first in the information security list all year round. It is invincible. Lin En looked them over. The Turtle King seemed like the most reliable option. The Rotten Turtle King. I'll take it. .24 paused, seeming to check something. We're making the arrangements. We currently have 5 Turtle King couriers available. Accident rate, 0%. Speed, 1 meter per hour. Hold up. Lin cut him off. 1 meter per hour? .24 confirmed, yes. The breed has been specially improved, the speed has increased tenfold compared to previous years. The Turtle King you reserved holds our store's Turtle King walking competition record, unbeaten to this day. Lin En. After a long pause. Do you have anyone more reliable? Lin En took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and clenched his fists. 24 said, only 4 types of messengers are currently available, but we're working on domesticating more. If you're not satisfied, come back another time. Lin frowned, his mind racing. Finally, he hesitated. The Turtle King has high security but slow speed. .24 nodded. Yes. He considered. The Void Beast is fast but dies easily. .24 paused, then nodded. Yes. Lin En slapped the counter. Reserve 2 of each. I need them urgently. .24 nodded. The reservations have been made. Provide your address in the dark world, and we'll ship them to you ASAP. Because it's a biological contract, the exchange can't be done on the horizon. Don't worry. We won't disclose your information. You can fill it out with confidence. He placed a form in front of Lin. Lin hesitated, then quickly filled in the address of his next-door neighbor. 24 took back the form. 2 Void Warp Beasts and 2 Rotten Turtle Kings. The total fee is 2,600 skull coins. Payment now, and we'll ship immediately. Lin. Didn't I just give you 1,000? Lin En demanded, frustrated. 24 clarified, that was the intel fee. This is the messenger fee. They're separate transactions. Ding. Skull coin, 2,600. .24 said, payment received. We're arranging delivery. You can go back and wait. The biological contract scroll should arrive within 2 hours, along with instructions. Please follow them correctly. Thanks for your business. Chapter 83 Random Diagnosis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pharmacy. Lin's eyes snapped open, he shot up in the guest room, glanced at his left hand, still sound asleep, grabbed the night demon knife, and slipped out of the pharmacy. He carefully crept into the abandoned house next door, finding a good vantage point, he hunkered down, waiting. Things were a little dicey, but he had to contact his teacher and Xiao, or they'd be screwed when the Demon Association sent in the big guns. While he waited, Lin opened his system inventory and pulled out the 2 special items he'd gotten. Night Doctor Job Transformation. Random Diagnosis Technique. Lin carefully read the descriptions. He understood the purpose of both. Using the career scroll would trigger a mission, transporting him to a special location. Complete the mission, and he officially became a night doctor, and random diagnosis sounded amazing. So, if I have this skill, I can instantly diagnose anyone, Lin mused. Use it. Instantly, the scroll in his hand turned into beams of light, merging into his body. Ding. You have learned a special skill, random diagnosis. Ding. The random diagnosis technique has 2 effects, active trigger and passive trigger. Passive trigger rapidly conducts multiple random diagnoses on the target, quickly identifying their ailments. Can be triggered by any tissue in the target's body. Active use, focus on the target, and randomly assign them at least 1 and up to 20 diseases. This consumes a lot of mental energy. P.S. The target's disease depends on their constitution and the host's mental power. Whoa, after reading the prompt, Lin sucked in a breath. This was a legendary special skill. Could it really inflict diseases? Incredible. For a moment, a little black heart popped up in Lin's mind, giving disease plus curing disease equals cha-ching. Yikes. That was cold. No. He was a moral and conscientious young man. He couldn't do something so wrong. He shouldn't, at least. Thinking this, Lin glanced at his left hand. Ding. Passive diagnostic trigger. Target disease found, indigestion. Target disease found, pesticide phobia. Target disease found, narcolepsy. Target disease found, gene mutation, recessive. A series of system prompts rang in Lin's ears. With just a glance, Lin had a complete rundown of his left hand's ailments. Lin secretly gasped, this skill was insane. Really, really powerful. For a doctor like him, it was truly amazing. Immediately, Lin's eyes flickered. Should I try out the active skills for a sec? No. That would be unethical, and using his left hand as a test subject would be too much. Just a little test wouldn't hurt, right? Lin thought for a moment. Let's do it. He focused on his sleeping left hand, pupils narrowing. Activate. Ding. You randomly diagnose the target with morning sickness. Morning sickness normally only occurs during pregnancy, but for some reason, the left-hand mutant is experiencing a similar reaction. He feels dizzy and nauseous, has a loss of appetite, and has a distended stomach. Lin. And then, his left hand, which had been snoring away, turned green and jerked awake. Ugh. I feel so dizzy and nauseous. What's going on? Did I get a bad stomach? Nah. It can't be. Then a wave of nausea hit. Bleg. I can't hold it. Bleg. Whoa, his left hand instantly spewed out a pile of mangled limbs. Bleg. Soon, after vomiting, his left hand slumped, deflated and said, why did I suddenly throw up? Something's wrong. Lin En immediately pulled out a recovery potion from his pocket, acting concerned. I told you not to eat so much junk. Now look at you, sick as a dog. Yesterday, you ate a ton of bad meat, and today you ate 3 machines. No wonder you're throwing up. Here. Drink this potion and get some rest. His left hand opened its mouth unable to argue, and said, okay. Glug glug, it down the recovery potion in one gulp, ding. The left hand's favorability towards you is +1, ding. The left hand's favorability towards you is +1, ding. My left hand's attitude towards you has changed slightly. Although I think you are hateful, you sometimes seem to be alright. Lin. He yawned, then said proudly, don't think I'm gonna thank you, and don't think a bottle of potion can bribe me. If I get the chance, I'm still gonna eat you, Lin. Yep, that's one powerful skill. He closed his eyes, staying alert. 2 hours flew by, then, Lin felt a slight disturbance outside. He snapped his eyes open and went into stealth mode. Whoosh whoosh, a gust of cold wind rushed in, making the door creak. Then, right before Lin En's eyes, a 2-meter tall, skinny ghost materialized in the doorway. Your package. A raspy voice, like a burned throat, came from outside. It was the informant's delivery guy. Lin En's expression shifted slightly, and he floated down from the rafters, walking calmly to the door. He looked up at the tall, thin ghost. Mr. Shuangmu, is that you? Lin En nodded. That's me. Lin En held up the ID card given to him by the informant. The skinny ghost sniffed, verified the identity, then stiffly extended his pale hand, took off his hood, and pulled out a beautifully packaged wooden box. Please, inspect. Lin En glanced at him. He took the wooden box and opened it. Inside were 4 neatly arranged scrolls and a card. The card had lines of common Dark World script. Thank you for your patronage. Informant. Instructions. Open the scroll, drip your blood, sign your name, and the employment contract agreement is formulated. Once complete, the messenger will respond to your call. P.S. Please write your name on the back of the card and give it to my messenger as confirmation of delivery. The skinny ghost held out a quill pen to Lin En. Lin En considered it. Then he took the pen, accidentally brushing the ghost's fingertips. Lin En felt an icy chill spread through him, making him shiver, but at the same time, a series of notifications chimed in his ears. Ding. Target disease found, chronic rheumatism. Ding. Target disease found, ugliness. Ding. Target disease found, cold poison corroding body. Ding. Target disease found, abdominal cyst. Chapter 84. You are sick, seriously ill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin was stunned for a beat, then, with a snap, he straightened up and stared intently at the messenger before him. The skinny ghost froze, unsure why the human was giving him such a direct, almost unnerving look. It was the kind of gaze that made you want to squirm. You, sign, I want to go back, recover. He croaked. Lin held up a hand. Just a sec. The skinny ghost blinked. What's wrong? Lin adjusted his monocle, his expression serious. Lately, have you been getting abdominal pains? Chills. Do your knees ache when you walk, like they're full of ice? And when you look in the mirror, do you get this weird urge to cry? The skinny ghost went rigid. What the heck? How did he know all that? It was true. He had been feeling awful for months, especially after that delivery to the frozen wasteland. Something just felt off, but how could this guy know the symptoms? Seeing the ghost's stunned face, Lin calmly adjusted his glasses. Pal, you're in bad shape. Skinny ghost, say what now? Lin continued gravely, lucky for you, I'm a professional. When I touched your hand, I immediately sensed something was wrong. Tell me, have you been experiencing any of those symptoms I mentioned? The skinny ghost stammered. Yeah, a little. Lin nodded. Been to any super cold places lately? Maybe got nicked by some nasty critter? Knees aching on cloudy days? The skinny ghost gasped. How do you know? Lin narrowed his eyes. Don't worry about that. Just know you're in serious trouble. Untreated, this could lead to paralysis, even death. Or worse, you could lose your job and end up a wandering spirit. The skinny ghost panicked. This. Lin adjusted his glasses, beckoned him closer, and headed for the door to the next room. But you're in luck. You found me, a professional healer. If it wasn't fate, I wouldn't have said a word. My clinic's right next door. Come on, let me take a closer look. Don't worry, it won't break the bank. A few minutes later, inside the dimly lit Bloodsaw pharmacy, the skinny ghost sat slumped on a small stool, staring at the human kid in the white coat across from him. He wasn't sure how it happened, but he'd followed him in like a zombie. He should be heading back to recover, right? But those symptoms, they'd been bugging him for ages, and this doctor had diagnosed him with a single touch. Could this be, had he, the messenger, finally delivered his own good fortune? Lin, wearing a mask, studied him intently. Alright, let's figure this out. You've got a few issues, so we'll tackle them one by one. First, stick your legs up here. The skinny ghost looked at his legs, then at Lin's encouraging gaze. He hesitantly placed his legs on the counter. Bang! Lin whacked his knee with a small hammer. The skinny ghost, Omega. Skinny ghost sanity -10, Lin asked seriously, does that hurt? The skinny ghost trembled. Yeah. Way worse than before. Lin nodded. Good, that means we found the root of the problem. You've got rheumatism caused by cold poisoning. Keep going like this, and you'll end up with bone spurs and be bedridden. The skinny ghost stammered, but, it didn't hurt that much before. It hurts because you hit it. Did I hit it hard? Lin asked gravely. The skinny ghost mumbled, no. Not really. Lin held his monocle in place. If it hurts that bad from a light tap, it's deep in your bones. You really want to end up bedridden? The skinny ghost hesitated, speechless. Finally, he said weakly, it's probably not that bad. Snap! Lin slammed the table, making the skinny ghost jump. Lin said sternly, that's just ridiculous. Do you know how many patients have ignored things until it was too late? Do you have any idea what it's like when the pain takes over? Pain. Lin leaned forward, his voice low and intense. It's a real bitch. Especially on cloudy days. First, it's like ants crawling, then it's like a hammer, then it's like a knife. Knife after knife, until you're swollen like a balloon, and it hurts to even touch it. The skinny ghost cowered back, grabbing the edges of his stool, trembling uncontrollably. Fix it. Please. Just fix it. Doctor, stop talking. A few minutes later. This is a special bloodsaw bone patch, made in-house. Apply it 3 times a day, 1 patch each time. I guarantee it'll feel warm and tingly, and the pain will ease right up. And this is an herbal remedy for rheumatic pain. Boil these 2 kilos of herbs and drink it once a day for 7 days straight. If that doesn't do the trick, come back and see me. You're skinny. It's clear you're malnourished. I'm throwing in some tonics to get you back on your feet and running like Usain Bolt. Lin calmly piled the various medicines into the skinny ghost's arms. The skinny ghost, barely holding onto the mountain of remedies, asked, Doctor, is that too much medicine? Lin replied smoothly, too much? This is just for your old rheumatism. There are other things I haven't told you about. The skinny ghost trembled. What else? Lin sat down and pushed the medicine aside. He looked at the skinny ghost intently. Have you been feeling cold lately? No matter how much you exercise or bundle up, you just can't shake it. The skinny ghost's eyes widened as he looked at his pale hands. Yeah. Lin narrowed his eyes. And does that coldness feel like it's coming from the inside? Surging from your stomach out in waves? The skinny ghost gasped. That's exactly it, Lin said gravely. Based on my preliminary diagnosis, you've been infected with a malignant cold poison. It's even caused a malignant cyst in your stomach. The skinny ghost recoiled. That's impossible. Clang! Lin drew his night demon knife. We'll find out for sure after surgery. Chapter 85 Your Loyal Dr. Shuangmu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes later, operating room. The lanky, translucent ghost quivered on the table, watching Lin En sharpen his knife and asking, seriously, do I really need surgery? Lin En nodded, blew on the gleaming blade, closed his eyes and said, no choice. The problem's deep-rooted. Medicine alone won't cut it. The ghost trembled. Can I get anesthesia? Lin En blinked, then smiled sheepishly, scratching the back of his head. My bad, spaced it again. Don't worry, I'll get you some right now, heh. He tossed the knife down and started rummaging through the cabinets behind him, the ghost's eyes widened in horror. Omega. Again. This isn't right. Anesthesia before surgery is standard procedure. Why does he seem like he doesn't even know where he keeps the stuff? Slender ghost sanity -10. Slender ghost sanity -10. He watched Lin En's back nervously, feeling increasingly uneasy about his doctor. Then, finally, the moment arrived. Found it. Lin En said cheerfully, the ghost sighed in relief. Expired. Lin En frowned at the bottle, the ghost went stiff. Winky face, Lin En turned to see the ghost staring at him, teeth clenched, trembling. Or. Lin En considered, can you tough it out? No. The ghost instinctively recoiled, terrified, no way was he toughing it out. Just hitting his leg hurt like hell. Surgery without anesthesia. Unimaginable pain. Especially if he was going to mess with his kidneys. Seeing the patient's resistance, Lin En paused, then said with a slight frown, well, there's another kind of anesthesia. Wonder if you'd be up for trying. What kind? The ghost saw a glimmer of hope. Lin En said solemnly, physical anesthesia. The ghost blinked. Oh, physical, anesthesia, thwack, ding. You knocked out the thin ghost. You gained 10 basic experience points. Ding. You successfully removed the thin ghost cyst. Your surgical ability +10. Ding. You straightened the thin ghost's dislocated kidney. Your internal medicine ability +1. Ding. You successfully completed an excellent suture. Your sewing ability +10. Half an hour later, Lin En supported the shaky, hollow-eyed ghost, now leaning on crutches and hooked up to an 4 drip, as he stumbled out of the operating room, bandage on his head, physical anesthesia, bandage around his waist, cyst removal, bandages wrapped around his legs, old rheumatism, bandage over his face, apparently it was ugly. Alright, everything went great. Cysts gone. Still got some lingering infection, so you'll need aftercare. Here's the new meds I've whipped up for you. Gotta take them on schedule. Remember, keep the 4 going, don't skip the meds. I guarantee you'll be right as rain in a week. Lin En gave a thumbs up, the ghost stared blankly at the 4 bag above his head, then glanced at his tightly wrapped knees and legs. He leaned on his crutches, clutching a heating pad to his chest, another stuck to his forehead. Thank you, he said weakly. I wish misfortune upon your family. Lin En, chirped, you're welcome. All in a day's work. Your bill's ready. Surgery plus meds, comes to 3,000 skull coins. Paying cash, or, parts. Lin En's smile was extra friendly, the ghost mumbled, how much? Lin En beamed. 3,000, sir. So damn expensive. The ghost shakily pulled out 3 black skull coins from his robes and placed them on the counter, half a year's savings, gone in 1 doctor visit. Guess it's true what they say, the hospital empties your wallet faster than anything. Can I go now? The ghost pleaded, he didn't want to stay a second longer, he just came to drop off a package, and picked up a disease. Of course. Lin En grinned, quickly packed up the various bags of medicine for him, and then helped him hoist them onto his back. He hung the rest on the 4-pole. Sign here for the delivery. The ghost took the card, I gotta report back anyway. Hold on. Lin En grabbed the 4 scrolls from the box, examined them, then closed his eyes and placed them back in the box with a satisfied sigh. He didn't notice a single hair brushing across his fingertips from the edge of the scroll. No problem, I'll get right on it. Before he could finish, a system prompt chimed in his ear, ding. You have discovered the target disease, congenital severe paralysis. Ding. You have discovered the target disease, permanent skin suppuration. Ding. You have discovered the target disease, malignant toxin residues left by parasitic poisonous moths. Ding. You have discovered the target disease, intermittent limb melting. Lin En froze, his eyes locked onto the box. He was certain he hadn't touched anyone, but this prompt, then his gaze snagged on the stray hair. What's this? Lin En narrowed his eyes. Could this be the informant? He glanced at the ghost. Sir, has anyone else handled my delivery? The ghost became serious. No, my master always delivers solo. He packed it himself. No one else touched it. Lin En understood. He smiled to himself. So, this is the informant, and they're riddled with diseases. No wonder they're always hiding in the shadows for intel work. Suddenly, Lin En remembered the thousands of skull coins he'd been scammed out of by this guy before. Lin En smiled slightly, grabbed a pen, and scribbled on the back of the receipt, to Shuangmu. Dear informant, greetings. I've successfully received your delivery. Thank you kindly. However, you seem to have inadvertently left a strand of your hair in the package. Being the professional doctor that I am, I've detected some concerning symptoms from it. Lin En listed the diseases he found. I am deeply saddened by your ailments. If you see this receipt, please make an appointment with Mr. Shuangmu at Vision Pharmacy No XXXX. Bring funds. I can provide further diagnosis and treatment. I wish you improved health. Your loyal doctor. Mr. Shuangmu. Chapter 86. You are the white moonlight in my heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The acknowledgement was done. Make sure to give this to your boss. I'm really happy with the quality this time. Lin smiled and handed the card to Slender Ghost. Slender Ghost glanced at the card and his face went white. This was some next-level outrageousness. Remember our website. All it took was one hair to diagnose his boss with a death sentence's worth of diseases? What kind of medical breakthrough was this? But, not his problem. Without a word, the lanky ghost turned, grabbed a cane, hooked up in 4-bag, and bolted out the door. Just as he stepped outside, he heard Lin call after him. Come back anytime. Thanks for stopping by. The lanky ghost flinched, his hand tightened on the cane, and he practically dove into the black mist like he was escaping a fire. Lin didn't waste any time watching him go. He quickly pulled the 4 scrolls from the box. He carefully unfurled one. The intricate hexagram runes etched into the scroll immediately caught his attention. A spell. Or rather, a summoning and contract circle commonly used in the Dark World. These kinds of circles let you sign short-term contracts with creatures from the Dark World or other dimensions, and these 4 scrolls were clearly preset for specific creatures. Without hesitation, Lin grabbed his quill and ink, sat at the counter, and started writing the first letter. My dearest Xiao Xiao, remember me? It's Lin, your dentist. You recently became our first lifetime member, which is a real honor. You're such a kind and lovely girl. Ever since you left, I can't stop thinking about you. I spend every day and night anticipating your return. I've been tossing and turning, losing sleep, and dropping weight. It brings me back to that magical night we shared. I can't contain my feelings for you any longer, so I had to write this letter. If I didn't, I think I'd die. You're my white whale, I can't get you out of my head. So, will you accept my invitation? I've got a real feast planned for you here in Wandering Soul Alley tomorrow. Please don't say no. Yours truly, your dentist, Mr. Lin, who's missing you terribly. Once finished, Lin sealed the letter with wax, and then, he pricked his finger, dripping blood onto the magic circle on the scroll, and signed his name, Lin. His blood slowly flowed through the runes. The circle began to glow a bloody red. Buzz. The air shimmered, the magic circle blazed with light, and 2 human-sized creatures materialized from the glow. One was sleek and cat-like, resembling a cheetah, covered in fine red runes that pulsed erratically like it was on the verge of vanishing. The other was a giant, moss-covered turtle with a particularly nasty-looking head. Void Leap Beast. Level, 80. Alignment, lawful neutral. Combat skill, runs really fast. Bio, strange creatures that wander the void and the abyss. If you happen to be in an open area and look up and see what appears to be meteors streaking across the sky, those might not be meteors at all, but a pack of void leap beasts warping through the void. Rotten Turtle King, level, 81, alignment, none, combat skill, tough shell. Bio, Turtle Kings live quietly in the great swamp of rotting lands. They're gentle and slow, spending almost their entire lives asleep. Thousands of years mean almost nothing to them. Most rotten turtles don't leave the Everglades, but there are always a few who want a job out in the world, like delivering packages. Lin's eyes lit up at the sight of these two impressive creatures. Are you my messengers? Lin greeted them with a smile. The void leap beast roared in response. The rotten turtle king slowly turned its head, opened its mouth, and said, "I." Lin blinked. Time crawled by. Lin opened her mouth, holding her breath. "You're." A minute ticked by. Lin was stunned and held her breath again. "Letter. Carrier." After finishing, the Turtle King's face slowly spread into a goofy smile. Lin almost passed out, wiping the sweat from his brow. He solemnly handed the letter to the Turtle King. "I need you to deliver this. I hear you can use even a trace of the target's tissue or breath to find them and deliver the letter as fast as possible." Lin En pulled out a small shard of tooth he'd scraped off the sacred spear not long ago. "Her name is Xiao Xiao. Memorize her scent and get this to her ASAP." The Turtle King sniffed. It slowly extended its neck at an indescribable pace, slowly opened its mouth, and took the letter. "Okay." Then, to Lin's horror, it took another 10 minutes for it to reach its back. Click. A small door slowly opened on its shell. Lin had finally had it. He snatched the letter and shoved it into the secret compartment at lightning speed, snapping the door shut. "I." The Turtle King slowly said. It slowly stretched out its limbs, and began to move toward the door at a speed visible only under a microscope. "Want." Lin's temple throbbed. He ignored the snail-paced turtle and turned his attention to the eagerly waiting void leap beast. "You have a mission too." Lin said, "I know you're the fastest of all the messengers." Before he could finish, whoosh, 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 the void leap beast vanished, reappearing in front of Lin in a blink, panting with its tongue lolling out. A whoop! It raised its head and howled. Then, it dropped a small stone at Lin En's feet. Lin En was startled. "Is that a meteorite fragment? Are you telling me you went into the void and back in that split second?" The void leap beast proudly stuck out its tongue. Lin En took a deep breath, closed his eyes, patted its head, and said, "Fast. You're crazy fast." "But..." Lin En pointed at the blood trickling from its cracked forehead. "You cracked your skull. Watch the road when you're speeding. Fast is good, but if you kill yourself right after you leave, I'm gonna have to pay for your burial." Chapter 87, On the Verge of Death but Still Thinking About Your Disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin knew better than to trust either of those messengers. No way. They needed to be combined. Lin En immediately swiveled his head, watching the Turtle King inching forward. A few minutes later, Lin En clapped his hands, a satisfied look on his face as he surveyed the void warp beast he'd crammed into the Turtle King's shell. The principle was actually pretty simple. The Turtle King's shell still had some openings, and the void warp beast was the kind that could croak if you looked at it wrong. Shove it through the shell, then pull its limbs out through the 4 holes. In a way, they'd achieved a combined evolution, the void leaping turtle. Balancing the void jump beast's speed with the Ghost King's defense, sure, it'd be slower because of the extra weight, but the defense was way better. Now, he didn't have to worry about the warp beast getting distracted and splattering against a wall, but just to be safe, Lin added a few extra precautions. He welded those 4 openings shut. Now there was zero chance of the warp beast getting too zippy and ditching the Ghost King. "Alright, let's go." Lin patted the heads of the 2 critters sticking out of the shell side by side. He said seriously, "Sparky, your job is to get the letter to the right guy in one piece. Zoomer, your job is to get it there fast. I'm betting that with the 2 of you hitched together, you'll be a breath of fresh air in the messenger world." Smack. star, Lin En slapped the shell. Get going, asterisk boom, star, almost instantly, the void jump turtle blasted a hole in the wall and vanished into the black mist at an unbelievable speed. Lin didn't waste time, he sat down, picked up his quill, and got down to business on letter number 2, Dear Teacher. Teacher, it's me, your student Lin. I'm done for, I'm about to kick the bucket. I'm bleeding out, my brains are leaking, I'm about to, pop, I know you warned me, teacher, but they're too strong, way too strong. Those nasty guys trashed our store, burned our sign, and kicked your favorite students but, teacher, I'm almost a goner, but I'm still thinking about what you taught me. I screwed up taking care of the store. I failed you. But before I go, I need to know, are you still alive? I hired this messenger with the last of my strength and spare change. I don't know if he'll even make it, but I have to say, you're my teacher for a day, you're my father for life. Tomorrow or next year, please, burn those 3 sticks of incense for your student. Your dying disciple, still thinking of you, Lin En. Pat. Lin En was so moved he started bawling. He quickly sealed the letter, then used the same method to create a second void-jumping turtle. He gave the shell a pat, the messenger zoomed off. Lin En gazed seriously at the door and said, I have a feeling it's too late. A few hours later, in a huge temple complex in the Outer Realms, a super high-profile event was underway. This was the territory of the One-Horned Ghost King, one of the Dark World's 72 kings. The one-horned evil ghost clan he led was known throughout the major abyss worlds. Why? Because king-level powerhouses were the scariest things in the Dark World, second only to root-level creatures. That was exactly why the one-horned evil ghost clan was thriving. Sure, he was one of the weaker kings in the 72, but no high-ranking creature would mess with them lightly. Everyone knew the 3 root-level headhunters who ran the whole Dark World were his close buddies back in the day, and because of that, the one-horned devil clan was a force to be reckoned with. Brother Titan, I'm beyond honored and thrilled that you accepted my invitation and came here today. The one-horned ghost king, adorned with tattered wings, stood up boldly, raised a giant cup the size of 2 of his bodies, and saluted the 3 massive heads on the temple's main seat with a laugh. 3,000 years. No matter what I do to get you a moment of clarity, brother, I'll raise a toast as your little bro. He threw his head back and chugged the vat of blood wine. To his left and right, countless one-horned evil spirits carried loads of fresh corpses, respectfully and enthusiastically tossing them into the containers in front of the 3 headhunters, freshly slaughtered blood sacrifices. If Lin En were there, he'd recognize him in a heartbeat. The smallest of the 3 massive heads on the main seat was the one who'd flashed him those pearly whites before. Chomp. Xiao Xiao opened his huge mouth, revealing rows of shiny teeth that made the unicorn ghosts tremble in fear. Looking sharp, the one-horned ghost king exclaimed, giving Xiao Xiao a thumbs up. I never thought my niece would look even more dazzling and charming than before. Next to Xiao Xiao, a massive female head erupted from its mouth, tentacles everywhere, snatched a huge helping of fresh corpses from the container, and chewed them with gusto. She grinned hideously, beams of light flickering with both confusion and clarity. It found a doctor. It made my daughter very happy. Blood gushed from her teeth, filling the whole temple with a strong stench. The larger head in the center remained silent. Compared to the other 2, the light in his eyes was more chaotic, a fierce malice flashing from time to time. Only rarely would a hint of clarity flicker in the chaos. If not for the suppression of that clarity, the evil and frenzied aura radiating from him would have annihilated the one-horned evil ghosts around him. Sister-in-law, is Big Brother doing better? The one-horned ghost king asked carefully. The massive female head cackled grimly. He refuses to accept it. His head was cut off that year. It's malice and curse that made him exist in this dark world. He thinks only of, kill it, ha 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 ha, kill it, asterisk wa la la dash star. Terrifying tentacles erupted from the titan's neck, wrapped around the female head's cheek, and tore and attacked relentlessly. I didn't lose, it's you, you vicious woman, curse, you brought the curse. Chapter 88 A Love Letter to Your Daughter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He had ripped huge chunks of flesh from the woman's face, yet her smile only grew wider and more twisted. Ha ha ha, you pathetic god, you can't win against anyone, so you take it out on your own woman, hee hee ha ha ha. If it weren't for the curse, hee hee, you'd be nothing but a dried up husk, a crazy person, ha 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 ha. That this chaotic, brutal tearing and crazed assault went on for a good 10 minutes. Every single one-horned evil ghost in the temple was terrified, shaking in their boots. Finally, the clarity in his eyes began to balance out the madness, and he gradually calmed down. The one-horned ghost king couldn't help but sigh in relief. If his big brother had truly lost it, their whole tribe would have been in for a world of hurt, but he knew the resentment eating away at his brother, because back then, his older brother, he shook his head, pushing aside the memories, and said with forced heartiness, "Big brother, sister-in-law, and niece, you're welcome to stay with me for as long as you like. As your little brother, I'll make sure you get plenty of fresh blood every day." Xiao Xiao stretched out her tentacles. She snagged a high-ranking one-horned evil ghost from the ground and started playing with him like a stuffed animal. Mirror. Yes, that the one-horned evil ghost, pale as a sheet, scrambled to pick up the huge mirror, not daring to breathe. Ding! Xiao Xiao grinned, admiring her pearly whites in the mirror, and began to primp. This had been the headhunter's daily routine for the past few days. The reason why remained a mystery. After a good meal and plenty to drink, the one-horned ghost king was feeling the buzz, and was just about to stand up to make a toast when his eyes narrowed, and his drunkenness vanished instantly. Who's this? Who dares trespass on my territory? In a flash, he punched through the air, grabbed something, and hauled a giant turtle out of the void. Kakaka, his claws scraped against the turtle's shell, sending sparks flying. Is this a messenger? That the one-horned ghost king frowned. As a king, he had heard of these ultra-secure turtle messengers. What is it? That the female head turned her fierce gaze on the one-horned ghost king. He quickly replied, "It's a void messenger, must be for me. I'll handle it." Without another word, he linked his consciousness to the turtle king in his hand. If someone was using a turtle king to send a message, it had to have been sent hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. Could it be an old friend? He was puzzled, but the next moment, when he received the message from the turtle king, he was stunned. Not for me. Then he frowned, turned to the one-horned evil ghosts below the stage, and roared. Xiao Xiao. Who's Xiao Xiao? Get your butt up here. But even as the words left his mouth, a voice came from the high platform behind him. My name is Xiao Xiao. The ghost king shivered. He turned around in disbelief and stared at the headhunter grinning in front of the mirror. Then he looked at the female head next to him, his face etched with confusion. Surely his sister-in-law wouldn't give their daughter such a strange name. It didn't even sound like a real name, more like something you'd call a kitten or a puppy. He choked. The female head turned her head with a snap, clarity briefly returning to her eyes. Daughter, has a name? Xiao Xiao turned her head and grinned. Ding! A flash of light reflected off her shiny teeth. The female head's eyes softened instantly, and she leaned over to lick her daughter's face. It was clear she adored her. The one-horned ghost king blinked in surprise. Getting no reaction, he simply nodded. Click! A small door slowly opened behind the ghost king, revealing the letter inside. The one-horned ghost king hesitated, then picked up the letter, sealed with sealing wax, feeling more confused than ever. Who in the world would write a letter to a root-level creature? Most root creatures were complete lunatics, barely capable of coherent thought for more than a few seconds. Niece, your letter. Don't know, words. Xiao Xiao continued to admire her gleaming teeth. Who wrote it? The female head asked, her eyes closed. The one-horned ghost king thought for a moment, then examined the letter, quickly spotting a name. Lin En. He gasped. Instantly, Xiao Xiao, who had been admiring her teeth, snapped her attention away. Omega, turned around and demanded. Read! The one-horned ghost king stared, a growing sense of unease washing over him. He had never seen his headhunter niece express anything but cruelty. Something was wrong. Something was definitely wrong. Who was this Lin? Just looking at her reaction, he had a feeling this Lin En was a big deal. He opened the letter in a daze and scanned it. As he finished reading, his expression became, winky face. This, did he really have to read this out loud? He had a feeling that the tone and content of this letter were totally inappropriate for a public reading. Read it. Xiao, Omega, commanded, the one-horned ghost king, stammered, okay, I'll read it. Dear Xiao, Buzz, the female head, who had been licking her daughter's cheek, froze, the confusion in the Titan's head also suddenly vanished, the room went eerily silent, he shifted his tentacles slightly, Omega, and said, well, continue, the one-horned ghost king clutched the letter, trembling, sweating like a pig, and read. I am your dentist, Lin. Do you remember me? Not long ago, you became the first lifetime member of our shop. I am extremely honored and happy about this. The two huge heads perked up their ears. Xiao, Omega, said, remember, the one-horned ghost king stole a glance at the silent big brother and sister-in-law on the main seat, swallowed hard, and continued in a trembling voice. You are a very friendly and lovely girl. And ever since you left, I haven't been able to sleep. You're constantly on my mind. I can't eat, can't drink, and I've lost a lot of weight. A heavy silence fell over the room. Chapter 89 He is Kidnapping. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even the one-horned demons in the audience started to drift off, some of them even let their drinks overflow. Xiao chimed in, me too, I lost like 2 pounds. Google TWKAN for more. No way. The evil spirit ghost king's heart skipped a beat. There's a difference, honey. You're just missing your teeth and going hungry. This dude in the letter is totally hitting on you, he's coming on strong. His hand trembled, barely holding the letter, afraid to read on. Because it only got worse. Read it, uncle. Xiao said eagerly. Read it now. Two terrifying voices echoed, the one-horned ghost king looked up, every hair on his body standing on end, two huge shadows loomed as his older brother and sister-in-law materialized, their faces inches from his brother's usually glazed-over eyes were now sharp, clearer than ever, but in a terrifying way, he stared, sweating bullets, feeling like death was breathing down his neck, he gulped and read, voice shaking. It brings back memories of that unforgettable night we shared. Buzz, the hair on the two heads surged like tentacles, scaring the one-horned ghost king, Omega, out of his wits. Unforgettable, the female head hissed. Night? Titan's head growled, the one-horned ghost king stammered, the letter, it just says, that. It was a good night, keep reading. Xiao, Omega, wiggled all her tentacles, the two heads nodded in unison, such happy expressions, could it be their daughter? Read it. The two heads demanded, frantic, the one-horned ghost king was about to crack, he cursed under his breath, what kind of creep writes this stuff to my niece, and in front of her parents, no less, that he wanted to slap himself silly. After reading the start of the letter, he should have just gotten someone else to take over. Why did he have to get involved? He was risking his life for this. But now, there was no turning back, he gritted his teeth and continued, voice trembling, because I can't contain my longing for you, I decided to write you a letter. I felt like if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to. Crack, that he could hear the terrifying grinding of teeth from the two heads in front of him. Wouldn't be able to, what? Titan's head croaked, tears welling in his eyes. You're like moonlight in my heart, I can't get you out of my head. Crack, the one-horned ghost king felt crack spiderwebbing across the ground. Moonlight, in his heart, the woman's head ground out, her eyes flashing dangerously, the one-horned ghost king, held the letter with trembling fingers. So, I want to invite you to a get-together in Wandering Soul Alley. A feast is waiting for you. From Mr. Lin, who can't wait to see you, he blurted out the rest of the damned love letter as fast as he could. The one-horned demons in the audience stared, mouths agape, speechless, a moment of silence. That's it? The two heads asked together, the one-horned ghost king looked at the letter and said, yeah, that's the end. Xiao, Omega, wiggled her tentacles and exclaimed, wow. He misses me so much, and there's a big meal, yay. Another beat of silence, then, to everyone's astonishment, Xiao Xiao, visibly thrilled, hopped off the stage, snatched the letter from the one-horned ghost king with a tentacle. She jumped up and down, chirping, Mom and Dad, gotta go, I'm off to dinner. Then, she bounced out of the temple, humming a happy tune, just a naive kid being led astray with a cheesy letter. The countless one-horned demons finally snapped out of it, their jaws hitting the floor. What the heck is going on? Who is this Lin guy? What kind of power does he have? He's too strong. Way too strong. He just wrote a letter to this terrifying family. That's fine, but the love letter is full of flirting with a family that contains root-level ancient gods. What the heck? He's hitting on their daughter right in front of them. Finally, the one-horned ghost king, looked up at the two silent heads. He sensed something was seriously wrong. Big brother and sister-in-law, I think. Rumble. Before he could finish, the Titan's head roared, its tentacles thrashing, and the temple dome cracked. That low-down snake. You thought you could pull one over on me while I'm down, hitting on my daughter with this garbage. You've gone too far. Calm down, honey. It's hard to find someone our daughter likes, so we have to try to be calm. She's only 5. She was seduced before she even grew up. I'm gonna beep. She might look 5, but she's been 3,000 years old. She can make her own decisions, so try not to make things worse. The temple was descending into chaos. The female head strained to restrain the berserk titan. Roar, roar. The dome exploded with a terrifying roar. The one-horned ghost king yelled, brother. You're thinking clearly. You've become aware of your surroundings. The titan head continued to roar, but it was being dragged forward by the female head, clawing at the ground with all its might. Of course I want to be clear-headed. If I don't clear my head, my daughter is going to be in danger. Let go, I have to kill that letter-writing loser. The female head frantically grappled her husband with its tentacles, stopping him from going on a rampage. Honey, relax. Love shouldn't be controlled. Leave the kids alone. I'm gonna teach you not to control. Beep. Beep, beep. This is a kidnapping. The kidnapping of an innocent girl. Rumble. The entire temple finally collapsed under the strain. P.S. Well, today I will reach 200,000 words, and it has been written for more than a month. Thank you very much for your support. Now this book is doing well, so Xianyu will work harder to test the waters of the previous book. As a book, this book returns to the original heart, hoping to bring you the most perfect novel. After saying this, we have to return to the topic. In order to show off the charm of Xianyu, I would like to ask for a small gift. With your support, Xianyu will work harder to code, strive for 10 chapters to be updated every day. Cross out. Chapter 90, The Doll Lady in the Doll Courtyard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The blood-red moon blazed above the castle tower. A vast field of thorn roses, shrouded in mist, surrounded the castle. Blood-colored petals carpeted the long, silent path, and faint, haunting melodies drifted through the air. Click, click dash. Across the flower field, the sound of footsteps grew louder. Through the swirling black mist, hunter-killer teams, monstrous hybrids with human heads and spider bodies, advanced cautiously towards the central castle. Preparing for the third assault. Hunter-killer Team 21 is in position. Requesting attack authorization. Authorization granted. Commence assault. The leader's eyes flashed red. Immediately, dozens of predators surged forward into the flower field, moving with incredible speed through the black mist. Simultaneously, more than a dozen hunter teams launched an invasion of the doll garden from all sides of the castle. They pressed onward. Scattered around them lay the broken remains of previous hunter squads, testament to earlier failed attacks on the doll garden. Their sharp blades hacked through the wildly growing thorns. Transmission, breached the third perimeter. Target is 500 meters out. A hunter's eyes glowed red. Suddenly, a figure materialized at the end of the misty path. They zoomed in, focusing on the figure. it was an exquisitely crafted, life-size doll. She held a black, gilt lace parasol and wore an ornate doll-like hat, clad in a black, gilt Gothic dress. Her long white hair cascaded down her chest, and her high heels clicked unnaturally against the ground. Her rigid movements and the total absence of any sign of life gave her an unsettling, eerie quality, yet, she moved with an almost lifelike grace, which only amplified the horror she inspired. Ding 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 ding, the red lights in the hunter's eyes flared. Target analysis. Confirming target identity. Accessing information database. Target identified, Black String Moon, 7th Puppet Master of the Doll Garden. High combat capability. Warning, target poses extreme threat. Full force engagement advised. In an instant, the hunters charged towards the Gothic doll with terrifying speed. Petals swirled and scattered in the black sky in their wake. In the blink of an eye, the hunters were upon the Gothic doll. Kaka, the sound of grinding gears filled the air. Time seemed to freeze. The hunters, lunging at the puppet, abruptly stopped. Faintly, in the light of the red moon, thin, nearly invisible silk threads could be seen binding their joints. Like puppets, they were frozen in place. Body restricted. Cannot break free. Warning. Body is bound. Body is bound. The hunters struggled, but their bodies were completely immobilized, only emitting mechanical squeals. In the flower field, the exquisite Gothic doll tilted her head, her knuckles tensed, and she gently plucked at the air. Poof! One of the hunters suddenly spun around, and the razor-sharp mantis blade on his arm plunged into the head of another hunter. Poof! Poof! More piercing sounds followed. The hunters, like actors in a bizarre play, stabbed each other in the head. Only one hunter remained. The Gothic doll looked up at him, her own eyes like those of a harmless little girl. Even as his flickered rapidly in panic, drizzle pattered against the black parasol. The Gothic doll's head tilted again. Click! With a swift motion, she twisted the neck of the hunter in front of her. Sparks flew from the body, and it crashed to the ground. In less than a minute, the dozen hunters had been destroyed. All intruders at the northern gate eliminated. Time, 59 seconds. The Gothic doll turned mechanically and reported. At the same time, she heard several other voices, each with a different tone. All intruders in the southern sector eliminated. Time, 3 minutes, 51 seconds. All intruders in the northwest sector destroyed. Minor damage sustained, parts replacement required. Intruder in the eastern courtyard is being neutralized. Estimated time to completion, 5 minutes. Xianhua, why are you so efficient? Did Madam's engineer upgrade you with new parts? You're way ahead of us now. Xianyu's a cleaning doll, so of course she's faster than us. Stop nagging and finish the battle so we can return to Madam. A low hum filled the air. Holding the black parasol, the Gothic doll walked towards the castle, her steps measured and precise. Each step covered the same distance, and her Gothic dress fluttered slightly in the wind. Then, she stopped abruptly. Her eyes shifted slightly, as if she had discovered something. Instantly, countless glass-like threads pierced the air nearby. Buzz. Space cracked open, and a strange, turtle-like creature was pulled from the void, hanging upside down, delivering a message. The Turtle King stammered, repeating those 3 words over and over, far faster than normal. The Gothic doll's head tilted. A few minutes later, inside the castle. Bloodsaw, your letter. In a hall filled with gears, a doll dressed in elaborate clothes entered with graceful steps. Nearly 3 meters tall, she was perfectly proportioned and exuded an air of nobility. Apart from her height, she resembled a medieval lady. Across the hall, the towering Bloodsaw leaned against a mechanical platform, his eyes flashing. Around him, doll-sized puppets with button eyes worked on his body, using various tools to tend to his massive wounds. Letter? Bloodsaw said grimly. Who's it from? Mrs. Doll sat elegantly on a gorgeous chair, delicately sipping a cup of coffee and saying nonchalantly, my daughters found it in the courtyard. It was delivered by a void messenger named Lin. Do you know him? Bloodsaw was taken aback. Lin. That's impossible. With difficulty, he straightened, frowned, and dragged his massive body to the table, reaching for the letter. Who is he? Mrs. Doll inquired. He's a kid I took in 2 years ago, Bloodsaw said gravely. He's been my apprentice in the pharmacy for the past 2 years. When I realized the Demon Association might be targeting Wandering Soul Alley, I sent him a message, hoping he could escape their clutches. He steadied himself and quickly opened the envelope, seeing the crooked handwriting. He knew immediately that it was his apprentice's. Only Lin could make good handwriting look so awful, but the moment he read the letter, his expression changed drastically.